It's an opportunity to reset, to maybe do things a little bit differently. Hello, good morning, and a very warm welcome. This is 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. I say this every morning, and I absolutely mean it. It is the best breakfast show in all of the land. Thank you so much for deciding to start your morning with us. Well, I woke up to some showers of blessing. Could be different where you are. Very shortly, we will connect with the Ghana Mets, Felicity Appiah-Ampofo. She's our go-to woman. She'll let us know what to expect by way of weather. But connect with us. Let us know how the morning has started off. You can find us on the socials. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and also on Twitter at 3FM 92.7. And you can catch all of the action there. There's a lot on our plates this morning. A lot for you and I to sink our teeth into. Who is stalling the business of Parliament? Is it the majority group or is it the minority caucus? We're very much experiencing the Asin North by-election ripple effect, with the minority caucus saying that they will be pressing on with their stance. Every time they say an MP from the minority caucus has to go to the courts, they will be in full attendance at the courts, that is, but not at the House of Parliament. How is that stalling Parliament business? What does that mean for a number of items that have been tabled for Parliament to consider? Well, the majority, they have expressed their displeasure, with some MPs on the majority side asking for there to be more patriotism. It's high up on our radar this morning, so do stick and stay. We'll be piecing together our thoughts and opinions, and of course inviting you to do same. The Voice of the People segment. It's a chance for you to also chip in your thoughts, your opinions, even your questions. They're most welcome.
3FM Sunrise.
We'll also be talking about more strikes, more boycotts. And this time we will be zooming in on the physician assistants. Anthony Asari is the president of the Graduates Physician Assistants Association. He'll be joining us and letting us know what type of storm is brewing. It's not looking great. Again, stay with us. Yesterday, we started the conversation about the District Assembly Common Fund and the state of arrears. We know that there is some 4 billion Ghana cedis in arrears.
3FM
Sunrise on 3FM.
Alexander Tete is the executive president of the CEPD. We'll be honing in on persons living with disability and the impact that the lack of monies is having on them. A lot for us to discuss. But let's speak now with Felicity Appiah-Ampofo, and she'll let us know what to expect today as far as the weather is concerned. Felicity, hello, good morning to you. Hope you're well.
Yeah, good morning, Helen. Yes, I'm much better today than yesterday. What about you and the guys in the studio?
We're doing well this morning. We need to know whether we need to wrap up even warmer in Kanda. There's some small showers. Is that going to be the theme throughout the day?
Thanks so much. Good morning to our dear listeners and viewers. Not throughout the day, we expect cloudy weather this morning over just some few areas, part of Greater Accra, Central Western Ashanti, and Eastern region. That will drizzle, and then in the afternoon, we expect the sun to break through. Then by late afternoon into the evening, we expect the southern regions to be cloudy with slight rain or drizzle occurring over places. We are anticipating ISO to scattered cases of thunderstorm with rain over northern Ghana. It's going to be late afternoon into the night as we move into a Friday. So we'll be updating in that regards in the course of the day by our afternoon and evening forecast. But in terms of temperatures, we are expecting roughly a uniform temperatures across all sectors. We expect it to range between 31 and 35 degrees Celsius. But tomorrow morning, we expect temperatures to go down to 23 along the coast, 19 over the north, 22 over the forest, and then the transition. Our brethren over the sea, the state of the sea is expected to be rough, but they can do fishing activities as we are not having massive rain and thunderclouds over the sea, but windy conditions will be there. The strength is likely to go as high as 20 knots, so they need to be extra careful. The water lake is also pretty cool for fishing, except that we are expecting the isolated cases of rain and thunder in the late afternoon into the evening hours, so they also need to just watch out or follow our daily updates by afternoon and the evening so they can plan their night fishing activities correctly. So this is how we expect today to be like.
Thank you so much for that, Felicity, and thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you too. Enjoy the rest of the day.
Have a fantastic morning. Again, that was Felicity Appiah, your chief forecaster with the Ghana Met, letting us know what to expect by way of weather. If you've only just joined us, a very warm welcome again. This is 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. Very shortly, we'll get into the news review. We have a number of papers here in front of us. As always, we'll run through the headlines and touch on some of the big stories this morning.
3FM Sunrise. 3FM Sunrise. 3FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM.
FM Sunrise.
Sunrise on 3FM.
Sunrise. Start your day with Sunrise on 92.7 3FM.
Miss Rocky,
And if you haven't already headed over to 3news.com, I encourage you to do so today and also throughout the day. We have the latest in business news, sports, world, politics, entertainment, you name it. Don't pay MPs who boycott Parliament. You'll find out exactly who is saying that on 3news.com. Now, do you agree with that assertion? We'll run a poll on our socials this morning on Twitter. We are at 3FM927 on Twitter, all one word. Do connect with us. Retweet, like, and share. The hashtag again is 3FM Sunrise. Well, let's get into that story on 3news.com. I'll tell you exactly who is asking that MPs who boycott Parliament not be paid. Well, renowned economist Helen Appiah-Ampofo has said that members of Parliament who boycott their parliamentary duties to protest situations they are unhappy about should not be paid their allowances. He said a lawmaker has no business boycotting Parliament. I'm quoting him here. He says a parliamentarian has no business to boycott Parliament. If they boycott Parliament, their allowances should be taken off. He said this on News 360 on TV3 Wednesday, July 19. Parliament is young, he goes on to say. There's a tendency now to put a lot of burden on the fledgling judiciary, which is not fair. Well, he was reacting to the decision by the minority in Parliament to stay away from Parliament as a way of protesting the trial of the Asin North Member of Parliament, James Chachikwesin. You too can weigh in on that. Do you think MPs who boycott Parliament should not be paid, Mr. Hughes? If you don't come to work, you don't earn your keep. You agree with that?
Well, yes, I agree. And I've said that, yesterday I said that I asked that question. For example, I asked the question as to how the ministers and the members of Parliament and the other government appointees. I saw my good brother Samuel Uku is going to lead the campaign team for Dr. Bawumia. We know he's the Director General of the Ghana National Lotteries Authority, and many other people. John Peter Mewu himself, who has been in the news recently, Skytrain and Matters Are Rising.
That is right.
He's MP for Hohoing. We've seen him in videos following Alan Chermante. We've seen Sylvester Tete, MP for Botiano English and Mafro. We've seen so many MPs, OPK of, some place around the core area. So the question we're asking, Dennis Miracles Abwaji, name them. So the question I'm asking is that while they are away, who's doing their work? And the call by the state man, Kwame Appiah-Ampofo, should not just be limited to members of Parliament. It should stretch. Who's doing their work? Are they getting paid their monthly salaries, allowances, and whatever it is while they are away campaigning for a political party's cause? And not just a political party, it's an individual within the political party. Could they have taken their annual leave and used that to do what they're doing instead? And are they using state fuel to move the official vehicles that they are driving, or are they funding it with their own monies? Are they abusing incumbency? These are all questions that must be asked, and then we must come to the table with the conversation. So Mr. Kwame Appiah-Ampofo got his spot on, but it should not be limited to just members of Parliament. Agreed that members of Parliament have no business being in court. They have to be in Parliament because they are an arm of the government.
That's
and
right.
A very powerful arm at that. But if you listen to the reasons they have given, and you know also for the fact that granting a nolli prosequi, for example, or the decision to prosecute or not to prosecute is discretional, and that rests with the Attorney General. And we have heard in the past weeks how that is supposed to be, a cabinet decision. It has to go beyond the Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. But somebody must make the proposal.
That's right.
2 former Attorney Generals have made a proposal and suggested to their junior at the bar, which is Godfred Dami, Attorney General, that look away, because this one, if you go into it, the mood, the temperature, whatever it is, it's not working. He's not listening. He's going ahead. So the minority also think that this is the best way we can protect our own. In any case, if you go to Parliament, for example, And as the leader of the minority explained yesterday, and which we also did, 2 days prior to that, there are 137 members on the side of the NDC.
That's right.
137 on the side of the NPP, and there's one independent candidate from Fomena, who is also a deputy Speaker of Parliament, who does business with the majority. So, organically, the NPP has 137 members. If the NDC decides not to be in Parliament, to boycott because of Jachikwesion, the NPP has more than what it takes to marshal less than 100 people, 92, to be able to.
That's the number they need for.
That's a quorum
for
to
that,
start business.
For there to be a quorum.
Now you have 137. How is it difficult to raise 100 people out of there?
And yet we've seen less than
15
numbers, very shocking numbers.
So the calls that are being made, yes, and sometimes you're tempted to believe what the Honorable Hamza Adam said yesterday, MP for Kumbugu, that these are calls of frustration. And it can be really frustrating if you have to hold a meeting with some people or someone and the person consistently is not there because they are not seeing the side of the bargain. They want to have a conversation. They right from the get-go have said that this looks like persecution, not prosecution. And the matter is before the court. I will go into the merits of the matter. But what considerations has the Attorney General made so far? He should be able to, speak to the nation.
Well, he would say that he's already done so, and in speaking to us, has asked us to remove our mouth. He says you guys are talking too much about the situation. Let's
you see, and when that continues, for example, I saw yesterday Okejetua Blakwa has brought out 2 separate letters where the Attorney General is said to have distanced himself from the National Cathedral.
In fact, he's resigned.
He's resigned from the National Cathedral. Do you honestly think that Okejetua Blakwa would have brought these things out if he was singing the song that the minority wants him to sing in terms of filing a nolli prosequi for? Because in this country, the same Attorney General, while he was deputy to Madam Gloria Kufu, along with Pemka Dindiok, former member of Parliament, they had filed nolli prosequi for vigilantes who had broken into a court to drag a judge out and disrupt court sittings. And we say, if anybody attacks the court, verbally or physically, that is an affront to our democracy. So for anybody to be able to walk into a court, disrupt it, and the Attorney General says, we have not enough evidence, because the court is also a house of record to do that, then you'll be thinking, okay, what's going on?
Right.
Again, the same vigilante boys went all the way to the Ashanti region 2 times in a row and dragged the National Security Coordinator for the region. They dragged him from his office 2 times. I mean, the National Security Coordinator in that place, all of the security arrangements rest with him. He's a direct representative of the president. Nolli prosequi again was filed. So, what could be so grievous in the matter of Jachikwesion that a nolli prosequi cannot be filed? Is it the case that the Attorney General wants to test the law to its full limits, so that by the time we are gone through, the Jachikwesion would have gone through the full trial, we would learn something new, our laws will be perfected? Or is he doing that to frustrate the numbers on the side of the minority, such that if there is a matter so critical that they have to vote, and the minority,
Johnny, that's a bit of a harsh perception.
Well, it's not really of a harsh perception, because we have seen in the past how Honorable Kennedy Ejapon, who wants to be president today, told us that he was sent by no less a person than the Chief of Staff to take 124,000. We are still trying to find out if it's dollars or cedis. To the home of Adwoa Safo, and he actually deposited it into a Fidelity bank account.
He said that himself.
Yes, he said it himself. And then he also mentions that we had to pause parliamentary sitting to fly in MPs who also doubled as ministers, Henry Korte, Adwoa Safo, and one other, into the house. We delayed sittings because of them. All right? And then he also said that the chief of staff went with the motorcade all to Adwoa Safo's home, and Adwoa Safo refused to see. So the numbers game in Parliament now, as we speak, is not like the 169, 106 that we had in the 7th Parliament.
That's right.
The 8th Parliament has almost a hung Parliament, if you like.
Yeah.
And so the dynamics are totally different.
That's right.
If the NPP or the government in power or the side in power had 169 people, I'm not sure they'll be struggling to marshal 92 people into the House.
Unless, of course, their priorities are so completely far off that even the 92 you won't get.
So the majority chief whip needs to be telling us how many ministers are out there. You see, and when you make a blanket statement that, okay, there are ministers, if you look at did he say manifesto? He called it something. He was conducting the interview in his office. So quickly you pull the file and say, oh, Minister A, he's in Brazil negotiating A, B, C, and D on our behalf. Minister B is in Nigeria. Minister C is in Portugal. Minister D is at this conference. Then we are on the same page. But when you make the general statement that minister is not present and this one is not present, we are seeing the MPs following people. We are seeing the ministers following presidential candidates across the country.
That's right.
Alan Chamartin is in Oti region right now. Dr. Baumia is in the Ashanti region. So are they doing official work? That's the question I asked in the beginning. Or are they doing private party persons' work? And are they doing it with the resources of the people? And how is that hurting Parliament? And if they are using the resources of the state to push the agenda in favor of a candidate or two, what happens to the other 8? Is this a fair contest? Are they getting paid while they are away? Could they have taken their annual leave? These are questions that we must ask.
Absolutely.
So the question that as to who really is stalling the work in Parliament draws in the executive, draws in particularly the Attorney General, and draws in Parliament and its leadership itself.
That's right. It's a conversation we'll be expanding even further today as we go on. It's high up on our radar, but we still have papers here. We'll run through what the headlines have in store for us this morning. The Daybreak newspaper, Baumia shoots down funding propaganda. Stop Press, Cecilia Dapa storms courts today over $1 million theft case by maid. There's a letter to the military high command also in the paper. CSBO wants nuisance lottery taxes removed, and digitalizing Bola is the best way to solve sanitation problems. That's coming from the Accra mayor on the front page of the Daybreak newspaper.
Yesterday, so Daily Guide says NDC plays hide and seek with Parliament. Appeals court bounces Judge Equation. I am not dead, says J. Kufuor. Baumia shoots down Islamic funding propaganda. Anti-LGBTQ injunction dismissed. Also, that was against the Speaker of Parliament, by the way. Ghanaian Times, I can't see what's been printed there. HIV self-testing kits unveiled in Accra. That's what it is. Supreme Court application to stop LGBTQ bill. WB 7th economic update report that 850,000 Ghanaians impoverished due to rising food prices. CEOs, industry experts deliberate over rebranding of Africa. And the Daily Graphic, Standard Chartered affirms commitment to Ghana. Insurance fair at Accra Mall today. Birth and death database 24 million records not digitalized, according to registrar and special supplement on insurance in the Daily Graphic. Supreme Court dismisses injunction against anti-LGBTQI plus bill, and self-testing for HIV begins nationwide. Okay, so that's what we have there. I am interested in what Mr. Henry Quarty said yesterday and how we can digitize waste. It's crucial that our waste management organizations or bodies, they have different trucks to come and pick different waste.
That's right.
At different times. I don't know how long I would say that, but I mean, in my home, if we drink from plastic bottles, we put them aside. We drink from sachet, we put them aside. We organic waste, your tomato peels, your whatever, you put them also aside. So I don't jam everything together.
Okay.
And it's painful when these I don't call them waste management, waste collectors. They come in, they jam everything together and they take it away.
So there's nothing like recycling. So they mix the plastic with the waste, all of that.
So what I've done is literally useless, and I'm not alone in this one. So I have suggested, for example, that, okay, can we have it when, for example, on Monday or on Sunday, it's just to collect plastic waste. So whether it's black poly bag, whatever poly bag, Monday. Tuesday, you can add paper to the organic stuff because it will decompose at some point and go away. And then you can have the other bottles and metals and what have you, and put them out. How difficult is that one?
Other jurisdictions do that so beautifully. They give you a box for your plastics, for this, for that.
Yes. And the people make money out of it.
That's
so
right.
Why is it difficult for us to do that? So if it's talking about digitalization, these are some of the basic things that we can do. Beyond that, I also gleaned from that press conference that was held yesterday, which was covered by Grace Hamwa-Ajiman, that, well, we've gotten to the point where the producers have to pay for the collection of the waste and all of that. But in this country, we have a certain tax called the excise tax, something excise tax, environmental excise tax. That's the name. That's the nomenclature. And we set it up. The reason for setting up this excise tax for the environment is to have recycling plants, all across the country, to use the monies collected from it, which already the producers pay for. Within that law as well, I know that the producers are supposed to use bio-oxo-degradable plastics that in itself. These days, if you observe, if you leave your plastic, your pure water plastics for some time, it starts on its own, trying to decompose and all of that without the water. So these are things. Question I ask is, where are the monies accrued from those collections that have been made for more than a decade? Have they been disbursed? What have they been used for? How many recycle bins have we built out of that? Have we left all of it for Zoom Lion to do? Because we do know that in this country, in a month, we consume more than 70,000 bottles of plastic stuff. More than 70,000. Now the number has increased because the population, I'm quoting figures from about 5-7 years.
Right.
We used to have 1.5 tons of refuse every day collected from Accra. So the question is, how are we managing all of these dynamics? All right, it's a big conversation that I'm sure we can have.
All right, well, Johnny will be biting very shortly. Time check, it is some 14 minutes to the top of the hour, 7 a.m. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Johnny's Bite is coming up very shortly. We'll take a message and, of course, we will return. This is 3FM Sunrise on 3FM 92.7.
ES Communications, in partnership with Sunny FM and Sunny TV, with support from Superfarm Network, presents Comic and Comedy, Ghana's maiden stand-up comedy festival.
If you want to know the number of years a man is married, ask about his wife. How is